Located at 267 West Center Street in the heart of downtown Marion, is now accepting applications from adults, students, and seniors. The Harding Center is a beautiful historic building offering one-bedroom apartments and efficiencies at affordable rental rates. All utilities are included. Basic cable and internet are available. The Harding Center is equipped with an on-site laundry facility for its residents. The property is located on the Marion City Transit bus line, and off-street parking is available. The Harding Center is managed by Starfish Building, LLC, Lois J. Fisher and Associates. For more information, contact them at hardingcenter@gmail.com or give them a call at 740-223-3288. The Harding Center, a beautiful place to live in the heart of downtown Marion. This is Scott Spears, and I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Scott Spears Now. Today the guest I know is a man you've known for years and years and years. He is the host of Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. He is Robin Leach. We're going to talk with Robin about how Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous came about, what he's doing now, why Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous went off the air, the government shutdown that's currently going on in October 2013, and we're going to talk with Robin about something very important, the 10-year anniversary of the Siegfried and Roy tragic event in which the lion attacked the performer. Robin got the exclusive interview on that. It's 10 years later, and we're going to talk to him about what's going on since then. Robin Leach, champagne dreams, caviar memories. What a great guy. Here he is. This is Scott Spears, and today we're joined by a man who made TV's Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous indelible, an indelible program in people's mind. He is an institution. He currently is out in Las Vegas writing for the Las Vegas Sun. His articles appear there. He's on the internet. He is a journalist, and we are so glad to have him here today. He is Robin Leach. Robin, how are you?
I'm good, and champagne wishes and caviar dreams to you too.
Robin, you're looking great. How do you stay in such great shape? Do you say your age? A lot of celebrities don't.
I'm not shy to say that I'm over 70 years of age, and I'm feeling fine. Thank you very much. I think it's all the good living of champagne and caviar over the course of time that allow me to be up and at 'em every morning. By 6 a.m. I work out for half an hour every morning on the treadmill and with the weights here with the trainer at my home 5 days a week, 2 Pilates classes a week, and 2 great massages a week.
You know, it's kind of interesting, Robin, because a lot of the pictures we see of you, champagne, caviar, sometimes a cigar, hey, it's not hurting you.
I don't let it hurt me because I never overindulge. And I think that that's the secret of anything, is that you enjoy it, but you never overindulge.
Good rule to live by. Robin, I was looking you up last night, and something came up that I did not realize. You started very, very young as a journalist.
I was writing for my local newspaper when I was 11 years of age. I was just fascinated with the way that, you have to remember this, of course, is 60 years ago. So when I looked every morning through the mailbox, there was the morning paper. And to me, it was magical that this object arrived through the mailbox and had the news from all over the world printed inside it magically overnight. And that was, of course, a couple of decades before CNN or Fox News arrived on the scene. So you were used to getting the news early in the morning by the newspaper, and then you had to wait until the evening for the television news. And it was magical to me, and I was just fascinated. I guess back then, if you pricked my finger, it would have been black ink that came out instead of red blood.
What is it about being a journalist, Robin? What is it that just drives people who do it?
Well, Michael Caine and I, we sat one evening talking about work, and work can kill you, and often does for people, because it comes with stress. But if you enjoy the profession that you have chosen, it's not work. It's enjoyment. And the first thing about journalism for me was the actual pure joy of talking with different people and capturing their words and then turning those words into stories. And I still think of what I've done over my television career, my radio career, and back again now in print. I look at it as I've always been a storyteller. The one thing about journalism that I really love is that when you get up in the morning, you never do the same job that you did the day before. Everything is new all over again. Before I spoke with you today, I was talking with Kristen Chenoweth, who is that 4-foot, 11-inch, pint-sized power punch singer-actress. And she was saying that it's not like going to work. It's going to do something that you really enjoy. And I think she's playing, by the way, here in Las Vegas for New Year's Eve, which I find really funny because she's going to sing classical opera, she'll sing Broadway show tunes, she'll sing American standards, and she's up against, remember, 4'11", and she's up against the giants of the recording industry who will be appearing on the strip along with the fireworks, and she is the one piece of alternative counter programming for New Year's Eve.
And she is definitely a talent. Robin, what makes a good journalist? If you had to teach a class, give one bit of advice, what would it be?
Well, I've taught classes in journalism, and I donated all of the video programming from Lifestyles to our local university here in Las Vegas. It's the art of listening. First of all, I can do research like you did a little bit of research on me last night. I love to read the background of people, but I don't go into an interview with any set questions in my mind whatsoever, because I want to listen to what they say so that I can ask a question from within what they've said. If I have pre-planned questions or prepared questions on a blue card in front of me, which many people do, unfortunately, they stop listening to the answers that come, and they are worried about asking the next question that's on the blue card, which may have no relevance to what something was said. So my answer in a roundabout long way, apologies to you, is don't interview them, have a conversation with them.
Why do you think so many students now and people breaking in need that crutch, need that blue card?
I am genuinely interested in the person I am interviewing. It is quick social intercourse with somebody. You have to be friends with them instantly. You better like the subject that you're talking about and the person that you're talking to. And I think that many journalism students who go into the field to do their interviews are so fixated on getting the pre-programmed answers, the pre-programmed questions out there, that they lose sight of listening. You're an audience of two when you're doing an interview, when you're having a conversation. You're listening to them, they're listening to you. And it shouldn't be question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. It should be a conversation, because that's when you learn how and what and where about the person. If it's all set in advance on a blue card as a crutch, you could get anybody to do the questions. Therefore, you could get anybody to do the answers.
Two observations that I've made about this, and it's nice we are having this conversation because I think it's an interesting one. I think the reason people do that, the two reasons I've come up with, number one is the attention span is shrunk, and they're afraid they need to get they're going to miss something. The other thing is that most people now, Washington's the new Hollywood. Most shows on television that are interview shows are, yeah, I know, especially this week, are political shows. At least if they're not even political shows, they have political guests from time to time, and they want to have all these facts written down, when this person did this, when they voted this way. Those are the two reasons I've come up with. What do you think?
Well, you may be right, and then I'll add the word unfortunately. I disagree with you. I do not think that Washington, D.C. has become the new Hollywood. I think that they're similar in the fact that both of those places are filled with moronic children who don't know how to behave. But at the same time, I do understand what you say about how public relations people control what stars say, and it's the job of a journalist to make them say the things that they're not supposed to say, which you only do by having conversation with them. In Washington, yeah, they all have PR people to spin the errors of their ways. There's always a PR spin to show that they're not the morons that we think they are. Look, what is it? Way more than 50% of the country think that everybody in Washington is bad. Politics are bad. Nobody's interested in running the country properly. Nobody's interested in serving the country properly. And these are all valid, bona fide claims. We have a mess on our hands in Washington. I don't care which party it is that you talk about. We have people going into politics that shouldn't be running second-hand car showrooms. And the reason they're in politics is because they couldn't even run a second-hand car showroom. So I'm tired of the childish behavior, the boorish behavior. Sit down like regular people do in business and hammer out deals, compromise, and do it all for the good of the country and not for the good of the politics.
Is it all, Robin, do you really believe for the good of the political party? Why can't we compromise? We've always had political parties. This is silly, it seems to me.
Silly, childish, juvenile behavior, temper tantrum behavior. Look, I think it goes with the moral and social fabric of the country and the times that we live in, to be really honest. Reality shows on television, and I was the first person that put a reality show on television with Lifestyles. I like to remember that those were good shows, they were clean shows, they were fun shows, they were inspirational shows, and look what it's deteriorated down to now. I mean, can you call Jersey Shore and Real Housewives uplifting television? I defy you to call them uplifting and inspirational. And as each show goes, it gets worse than the show that was before it. So let me finish the thought, because I think it's important. So bad behavior, all the way from starlets making porno videos or having fights in public or whatever they do, has become accepted behavior in a very short attention span world of 140 characters. And that's the same obnoxious social behavior, the lack of graces, the lack of manners, the lack of politeness, the lack of courtesy, just common courtesy, has spread, unfortunately, right into the halls of Washington, where they try to run our lives the way they think our lives should be run. So I come from a school that says less government, less politicians, less taxes, less services. Let everybody stand on their own 2 feet. We're quite capable of helping those that are unable to stand on their own 2 feet by virtue of charities. charities do amazing work. They do it more efficiently than the government handouts.
Robin, want to switch gears here for a second? I think you said that very well, and I think a lot of people agree with you. Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, you mentioned it there. What was the pitch for that? How did that come about?
The pitch for the show was less than 7 minutes. It was a page and a half on a piece of paper, and I pitched it to a man who became my partner, Al Massini, who had created Entertainment Tonight, where I worked. And in less than 8 minutes, in less than 7 minutes, he gave me the $8 million that I needed to shoot the first set of specials. We had never really planned that back then in 1982-83, when we were putting Lifestyles together. I was planning to stay at Entertainment Tonight, which was one of his shows. And we were going to do four 2-hour specials a year starting in 1983. And after we'd done the second 2-hour specials, the ratings for it was so huge. I mean, they were up there in the days of Dallas and Dynasty, and we were there with them in the 27s and 28s. Remember, Oprah sometimes doesn't even get a 3 when she was on regular television, and we were scoring 26s, 27s, and 28s. And the station said, you have to bring this to us as a weekly television series. So the plan for 4 2-hour specials a year was extended within the second 2-hour special.
And what was the idea, essentially, the purpose of that show?
It was born out of a frustration that I had working at Entertainment Tonight, in that a new senior producer came on board, and he said that he did not want to, he only wanted to concentrate on the work habits of stars. He wanted it focused on their next movie, their next theater project. Everything was work related. And I argued the point, saying that celebrities and TV movie stars, theater stars, they're human people, and the public, be they fans or just interested people, want to know about the rest of their life. And he said, absolutely not. I'm not interested in seeing how people live. I'm only interested in their work. So I went to Al with the idea of doing a show that literally did a live show inside the homes of different celebrities. And Al said to me, if anybody can do that, you can do it, but can you do it with rich people? And I said, rich people are absolutely no different than celebrities. Rich people are no different, except for the zeros in their bank account, than us. So the answer is yes, of course I can do it. So we married his rich with my fame, and that was how the show came into being, on a piece of paper that was a page and a half, and off we went. And on that very first show, I went to Monaco, and we did the show from the Palace in Monte Carlo.
Most memorable episode in all those years?
So many. I mean, every show to me had to be better than the last show that we did. Every show had to be more outrageous than it was the last show. I mean, I remember, I think the reason that the show was successful was because we never put down anybody, and we encouraged all of our viewers to get off their backside, off the couch, work hard, and enjoy, you know, the fruits of their labors, which is how these people lived. I remember, you know, a house in Australia that was so large that they had a chauffeur-driven limousines to take you from the bedrooms down to the main living room portion of the house on a road inside the house. And I'd never seen anything like that before. And I remember saying to the man who owned it, I've never seen a house like this. I guess I never will. And he says, you haven't seen the house in Germany with the 365 rooms, one for every different day of the year? And I said, no. And he said, well, here's the address. So I hopped on a plane, went there, and I saw that. That was a house, as I say, 365 rooms. And they had 7 people just on the staff to wind the clocks. And when I left that house, I said, I don't think I'll ever see another house like that as long as I live. And the man said to me, do you know about the house built completely from gold bars in Hong Kong? I said, no. He said, here's the address. I flew to Hong Kong. And when I was there and looking at the house made of gold, I said, I don't think I'll ever see another house like this. And that's exactly how it went on, because the very people, you could not go to the Yellow Pages and look up rich and famous. There was no category with the listing. So I had to rely on the rich and the famous people to tell me about the places that I never knew about, but they all knew about them.
You know, Robin, one thing that interested me about that show greatly was I always wondered if the people who you were profiling were, obviously when you have a house like you just explained, you can't make that up. But when you would go and profile a celebrity or somebody who did well in business, were they putting on for you being there? Sam Walton comes to mind when he was driving around the pickup truck. I thought, is he just trying to relate to the common person?
No, because he lived exactly like his customers. There was only one time in the entire time that we ran across something that wasn't totally real. And it was in the middle of doing an interview in San Francisco with the owner of a very large jeans company. And I got a very uncomfortable feeling while I was talking to him. And during a break in the filming, I asked my producer to go out to the garage and look at the cars that he had there. And I said to her, open the glove compartment and see what the registration is. And so she went out on the pretense that she was going to set up a shot of all these cars coming out of the garages at the same time. You know, he had the Rolls, the Bugatti, the Ferrari, the Maserati, the everything. And she came back about 10 minutes later and whispered in my ear that all the cars had been rented for one day. And so I said, I thanked him for his time and explained that we couldn't do anything with the interview because it was somebody putting on a show for us. Horatio Alger, rags to riches stories. And so we were very, very rigid about ensuring that everything was real and perfect. We weren't a show like Cribs that rented houses for basketball players. We were 100% authentic and real.
Why did it go off the air?
Well, I think after 13 years, I was exhausted, to be honest with you. I was trying, you know, I was the executive producer, the host, and the writer for the show. And for 12 years, I literally worked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. It was an extraordinary grind of work and time. There was no life while it was being done. I mean, people thought it was fun to see me in a jacuzzi, you know, on a resort island in the Caribbean, but I was only in the jacuzzi for the time of the filming, and then I'd be on a plane to the next place to start filming with yet another television crew and field producer. So 12 years, I was exhausted. 12 years, I'd run out of general enthusiasm for what we were doing. I think also after 12 years, we'd exhausted some of the different ways that I always wanted to present stories. And so we began to slow it down. And I didn't want to go out by being cancelled. You know, when audiences drop, networks generally say, right, your life is over. I wanted to go out being remembered for the good show that we did before we ran out of steam. So we closed it down, and the irony of it was that the day after that decision had been made, which was an emotional decision, I began, obviously we were still producing shows, but I'd begun to wonder what next for me. What did I really want to do? And an old friend of mine who came from Cable News Network, CNN, who I'd worked with in my very early days of television, came to me and he said, I want you to help me build a network on based on food. And my first reaction was, I think this man has lost his mind finally. And I said, well, it's either the greatest idea since sliced bread, excuse the pun, but it was true, or it's the worst idea. And I said, food. You want to present food like the Yuletide Log on television, which you know is the highest rated television program of the year. Did you know that?
I didn't.
The shots of the Yuletide Log on Christmas Eve. And I said, so, well, that's an interesting challenge. And 18 months later, the Food Network was born and up on the air. So it was another one of those, I've gone through life dealing with things that people say that can never be done, what a stupid idea, what a waste of time. And every time the critics lambast us for what we do, what we make, what we produce, what we write, what we say, I always know that that's the first sign of success. If they tell us that it's the best idea they've ever seen, they think it's great, I hold my head in shame saying, well, that's going down the drain. And sure enough, we had one failure in our television history of making shows called Preview. And Preview was a show that was a rotating 7-day ahead look at the week to come. So Monday of this week, you would get Tuesday's preview. Tuesday's show, you get Wednesday's preview. Wednesday's show, you get Thursday's preview. In all the aspects of entertainment. So we were 24 hours ahead of the news, 24 hours ahead of what was happening. It was an absolutely great concept. I hired Matt Lauer to be the host of the show from a station in Philadelphia, and he became, as you know, the host of the NBC Today Show. Love Matt, great journalist, good guy, nice guy. And the critics actually applauded this show. It was the first time that the show, a show of ours, had been applauded, raved about, praised. This is what television should be. And I said, we're dead. It's going to be over. Sure enough, 6 weeks later and $10 million down the drain, we were finished with it.
And there it went. Robin, one thing I want to get in here, you're writing now, and writing as great as ever. You just did a story on the 10-year anniversary of the Siegfried and Roy incident. What was that like?
Well, first of all, it was a very emotional interview, and you're welcome to add in the YouTube clip of it if you wish. I've known these guys 30 years. They were on the pilot that I shot for Entertainment Tonight. They were on the first 2-hour special of the Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. They were on another show that I did out of New York called Nightcap. I've known them since before 1980 here. They've been good friends here. They are remarkable guys. And I was with them 10 years ago last night, as I was again last night, at Roy's 59th birthday. And it was the night after the birthday that Montecore, the tiger, dragged Roy off the stage and in doing so injured him. We'll never really know why and what happened. But I remember this week when I was talking to them in advance of last night's birthday party, Siegfried telling me that Montecore the tiger and Roy are back being blood brothers, and they hug each other, and Montecore will lick his tongue around Roy's face, or they'll kiss on the lips. I got goosebumps from that, because Roy now, in the open air with no protection, feeds the tiger. That almost cost him his life. It was fantastic last night. We were back at the Mirage, which is where the incident took place, to celebrate his 69th birthday, which marked the 10th anniversary of the incident. And Roy looked great. Roy sounded great. His spirit is still alive. It's an absolutely remarkable story of human courage, because the night that he was rushed to the hospital, to our trauma center here at University Medical Center, He died 3 times on the operating table. 3 times he was brought back to life. He suffered 2 strokes. He lost an enormous amount of blood. His skull expanded, and they had to remove a third of it and put it inside his stomach until the swelling went down. A man with the strength of 1,000 men. Just a remarkable fighter. And as Siegfried said last night to us at the private party, this is the magic, and Roy is the miracle of the magic. I had the great joy of, after the doctors telling him that he would never talk again or walk again or do magic again, of seeing him defy all the odds and talk and walk. And then came the big test, and back in 2008, 2009, I persuaded Roy to make one final magic performance to say goodbye to the fans and his supporters who he'd been unable to say goodbye to that particular night when the show and their careers ended. And Roy said, "Do you believe I could do it?" And I said, "I believe that there is only one man that could do it, and that is you." And it became the subject of a 1-hour 2020 special with Roy and Siegfried on stage, doing one final magic performance. And I knew it, but nobody knew it, but the tiger that was used in the illusion and the trick was Montecore, the very tiger that had caused the problems on stage that ended their career. So for them to come back to do magic, to say goodbye, and to do it with Montecore, I think was an absolutely tremendous, tremendous feat of courage, and really the definition of magic.
It's an amazing story. Amazing. I don't even know what to add to that. Robin, you know, you've had this great career. It's going on. Obviously, people are going to remember you, unless something else happens, which it very well could, for Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. What would you like to be remembered for?
I don't know. That he told good stories. He lived a good life. He met a lot of great people, and he inspired people to follow in their footsteps. You know, one of the joys as you get to this stage of life is that you, fortunately, you know, the rewards along the way have been great for me, and I'm very blessed. But to do everything that I now do and send it to charity, I play an important part in the work of our Keep Memory Alive Alzheimer's organization here in Las Vegas. I do a lot of support for Opportunity Village, which looks after children and adults born with birth defects. And to be able to work, and as I said at the beginning of our conversation, to go to work and enjoy what you're doing, it keeps you young. And to be able to turn that money over to charity now is simply just a beautiful thing all the way around.
Do you ever foresee retirement?
You know, I ran into Lance Burton last night, and I said, "I haven't seen you in a while." I said, "Is the gone fishing sign still up over the front door of the house?" And he said, "Well, I've gone fishing, but I'm writing a movie." So I said, "I guess we never really retire, do we?" And I think retirement is a bad thing. I think retirement makes you sedentary. I think it hastens your demise. I think it brings on the beginning of the end faster. You know, we're taught to be active. God has given us a great brain to think with, to exercise, to use. And so I would encourage people, as long as they can, is to continue working and not deal with retirement. Now, working doesn't mean that you have to go out and get a job with a paycheck. Working can be as good as being a caregiver for an Alzheimer's facility. It can be good as being a volunteer fireman, a volunteer nurse, a volunteer hospital worker, There are charities that scream out for help, and you can volunteer for all of those. So the answer is there will never be a retirement, but it's the ordering of a different way of approaching work.
I understand that. Robin, you had one of the most famous sign-offs in the history of television. I want you to tell me where it came from and then give it to me as we wrap up this interview.
It's a hysterically funny story because I'm a great believer in bookending stories. I love a grabby beginning and I love a close that you will always remember. And so I wanted to have a bookend to the show that summed up in the shortest possible way everything that people had just seen for 1 hour. And Jeff Samuels and I, who were a British journalist friend of mine, were at my house in the Caribbean at the time, and we got famously sloshed as the evening progressed, trying to come up with catchphrases and buzzwords and everything. And we were drinking champagne. And as I say, we got pretty sloshed. And I don't know whether it was a simultaneous lightning bolt or whatever, but we both said, you know, we're looking at the very thing that sums it all up, which was the empty bottle of champagne. And I love alliterations. I think alliterations are one of the greatest things that exist in the English language. What goes with champagne? Caviar. What goes with caviar is cigars. I mean, and we decided after we wrote those 3 words down on a piece of paper that we could trim it to just champagne and caviar. And it was a show about wishing and dreaming and seeing dreams come true, seeing wishes become reality. Thus you saw champagne wishes and caviar dreams.
Robin Leach, you're an absolute pro, and I love having you on, and I hope you come back in the future.
You got it, boss.
We certainly have enjoyed our time with Robin Leach. He is a one-of-a-kind performer in the world of broadcasting, and how about that ending? You can't do much better than that. But for now, we're going to go with our own ending here, which is for me to say, this is Scott Spears, and until next time, I'm heading for the dugout.